Matthew Kennedy comes in here and he's talking farming, and Nate tries to ask a couple of questions and how much is land around Wagga.
It's awkward.
And Big Keno's, $5 to $7 grand, and Nate's like, right. And I found it quite interesting.
You found that funny?
I did. How did you?
So the people listening at the moment have just gone to sleep.
What did he say?
How much does a cow
How
cost?
much does a cow cost? Keno, did you find it a bit awkward with our man Nathan, or was it okay?
No, I was enjoying it. But now I'm
Right.
a little bit self-conscious.
But you're
talking about cattle. How much does a cow cost?
Oh, I thought it was
It's
all right,
actually
Brownie.
dropped a fair bit.
You were talking
You big,
about
tall pinhead.
your goat farm. There's a bit of goat farming going on. Is there? Tell us about that before we get to you.
Oh, just as I was telling Brown, we can't afford land around home, so we went up north and bought a bit of a goat farm with my dad, uncle, brothers, and cousin. So,
And what are goats for meat?
yeah, you sell them overseas for meat.
Okay.
Yeah, you just wild goats just running around, so you try and set up a bit of a trap around your dam and catch them when you go
Is
up.
there a property on there, or just goat?
Just goat mainly, but you can set it up. We've sort of fenced it around the outside. We're just in a bit of cattle, and hopefully down the track we can get some of our own. But
I'd rather talk about goats, but Carlton fans want to hear about your right knee, which is in a nasty brace. And we come to the footy and we like to see big name players like you play, but unfortunately not playing. When are you playing? What's going on there?
It's really hard to tell. Initially, when I was diagnosed, it was about 6 to 8 weeks. It's all looking very good so far. Hopefully be back running next week in the brace. But just got to keep sort of ticking off the boxes. So hopefully the boys can keep winning and we can sort of push through to the end of the year and hopefully be right for finals if we make it.
What's been the key in your eyes to this turnaround of 5 weeks?
Well, it's kind of hard because internally we haven't changed too much. The energy and the vibe around the club has been really good and really positive. We're working extremely hard at training. We sort of knew results or the tide could turn very quickly if we just stuck together and stuck fat, because I think during those challenging times you can really gel as a team and come together and can sort of make you stronger. And I think it has. And I think we've found a bit of our identity in the way we play footy, and the way Vossi played footy was sort of in the contest. I think we sort of lost our way around that, but I think you've seen us bring a really tough, strong brand and really pressure in the opposition. And I think from then your offense and the game can just flow for you a bit easier.
So when it started in that second quarter of the Gold Coast game, and you won that game and the 4 since, what was it in that second quarter that you're talking about when you say you gelled and you found your identity?
I think it was like you can overcomplicate footy sometimes and almost try too hard. And I think we just went back to the basics, which was the contest and just playing your role for the team. And with that simplicity, it's the game sort of flowed from us, and it's amazing what confidence can do as well. And footy's extremely, probably 80% between the ears. So once you build that confidence and that synergy together, I think it's sort of just clicked for us a bit more. But it's really started off a lot of hard work during the year and also just keeping it simple.
They've got once-in-a-generation player out there tonight in the opposition, Nick Dacos. And I thought that he'd get tagged by Ed Curnow, but Ed Curnow's been dropped for tonight's game. So is there any plan around him, or is it George Hild, who's done that role at Sydney before?
I think it's so hard for one bloke to try and stop him. You need all of your midfields buying in, but I think George will try and get that role initially. But George is one of our best hunters, so it's a bit of a buy-in from the midfield group, but I think we'll see George go to him early and just sort of playing him at stoppage. And then from there, it's sort of that team defence to really stop him. But it's hard to stop a player like that completely. You just almost need to nullify his impact.
We are speaking to Matthew Kennedy on the Friday Huddle, Carlton legend. It's great to have him in here, unfortunately injured.
Who's from Wagga Wagga, which I didn't want to go back to, the hometown, Matty, which is one of the great sporting hubs in Australian sporting history. And you think of the great Wayne Carey, our mate, Paul Kelly's a Wagga boy, Mark Taylor.
Slater.
Yeah.
Some good cricketers in
Did
there.
you grow up inspired by the fact that you grew up in a town where so many people went on to great careers?
Yeah, it is. I think sport in general, like you sort of mentioned, is a very big sporting town, and I was always involved in sport outside of school, whether it be cricket or footy, a bit of tennis as well. So, there was a lot of great legends, I suppose, of their sport that I sort of idolised, and I know Paul Kelly for me was one that I sort of really looked up to, I guess. There was a Paul Kelly Cup in Wagga, and he come a few times, and it's amazing when you're a kid, you just idolise those blokes. And for him to be around and support Wagga and the local footy clubs was awesome for me.
You are living in a share house. Apparently, is it owned by the Ocean Grove flyer Sam Walsh?
It is. It is.
So he's the landlord.
Yeah.
Who else is residing in this venue?
It's obviously Walshy, myself, Paddy Dow, and Big Charlie Kerno has joined this year, which is
danger.
Look out! Yeah. He's brought along his 2 dogs, Wax and Reg, along with Toby. So
how
fair bit of chaos.
How many dogs in the house?
It's 3 dogs.
3 dogs.
4 blokes.
4 blokes. And
yeah.
Cooking, who's in charge of that area? Who's best?
I'd say myself.
Okay.
I was sort of probably the head chef, but
What you go to?
Pasta
Okay.
or risotto. Pretty simple. Yeah, like to carb load. Charlie was good early days when he moved in, and then just dropped right off.
Oh,
So
Charlie.
Expecting everything done for him.
yeah,
He
yeah,
kicks goals.
he's cooking. He kicks
above
his
the
10, and he's done his role for the week.
Yeah,
So
we've
if he keeps
heard-
doing that, I'll happily cook for him.
We've heard that you've got a lot of nicknames, so we just wanted to get to the bottom of one of the nicknames. The Bison, I've been told that you get called.
Yeah, that was Bolt when I first got to the club. Big Cripper was the bull, so he couldn't call us both the bull, so he went with the bull and the bison.
Bison, Mitch Martin.
No, the
Oh,
Bison
Yeah.
is a big character, and then it's got a big, thick crop of hair very
Yeah.
close to the eyeballs.
Yeah, it's
And is that the
probably
one the
similar.
boys? Is that the one the boys have bought into?
You're trying to stitch me up?
No, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go there, Matty.
No, I've got a few too many.
Hey, what I will ask you,
Fair
I want you to take us into the locker rooms during the week. Who are the weird cats down at the Blues? Who are the
we
ones
got-
that you're
yeah.
never quite sure what's going on?
How long have we got?
As long as you
You've
want to
got
take.
team
Nah.
meetings, so we're in your hands, mate.
No, we've got a few characters, none weirder than the Kerno brothers, I reckon.
Really?
Yeah, they're both.
What's weird about them?
They can't sit still for one, and just their banter's terrible.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just
I heard
weird.
that-
It can be quite funny. I do enjoy it. Not gonna lie.
I heard that Ed has got his place down near the beach, and when they were tearing down the stands, he took some of the old seats from the stands and he
He
used
did.
it as firewood.
I think he used it on his house. I believe.
Did you go to the big bonfire sort of country
Yeah,
meeting
nah.
that turned the footy club around?
Yeah, no, I was there. It was good.
Or give us a little bit of insight before you go.
Yeah, no, that was sort of obviously we're probably struggling results-wise, and we just sort of wanted to have a campfire and build that sort of culture and connection, almost like a footy club, just to say, well, boys, we're all in this together. It's not ideal, but we knew if we kept or stuck together and kept fat, that things could change, and they sort of have a little bit, but under no impression have we sort of finished our work yet. There's still
Was
a
it
lot of hard work
Was
to
it
be done.
Nigel Smart like walking across the coals at the type of thing, or any of that team bonding stuff?
No, there wasn't that much.
Okay.
There was a bit of a race in the dam between Ed and young Jackson Binns
Right.
that took place.
A
That
swimming type event?
It was a swimming, yes.
Right.
Who won?
Ed, technically, but he did cheat.
Right.
Oh,
But no, it was good fun.
We need to let you go because you got
No
another
worries.
team meeting, mate. Thanks for coming
No
into the
worries.
box, making the effort,
Thanks,
mate. Hopefully
Matty.
the knee's good really, really soon.
Thanks
Yep.
for having me.
McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks Footy, Triple M Seabus Super Weekend Prediction, Seabus Super making hard work pay off. Here's a prediction. It's going to be a huge game of footy at the MCG. 80,000 expected in the house. Brendan Fevola to join us shortly, but we are blessed in this box to be joined by the CEO of the Collingwood Football Club, who comes in here with a record membership of 101,000. So well done to all the Collingwood people for signing up to their footy club. The CEO joins us, Craig Kelly. Craig, good evening. Nice to see you. How are you going?
Howie, thanks for having me, boys. What a great result. Just under 102,000 and still plenty to go. Our supporters keep signing up because it gives you the opportunity to get a priority seat for the first couple of weeks, the finals, and we want to smash it out of the park. They're amazing supporters.
they are. All the club supporters are fantastic. Where does that sit you in the competition in terms of membership?
So we don't really know. I would think we're right up in the top pointy bit. But West Coast Eagles get a fair run at it because they have all of those reserve seats. Even if they're going badly, Bung, they get a pretty good result. So I reckon we're up in the top couple.
Do you find it off-putting that neutral footy fans, Craig, are cheering for Collingwood? Like you go to the game when you commentate or as a supporter or on telly, they're just such a good team to watch.
It is amazing the amount of people who have come up to me and you've heard them talking to others and just going, I hated Collingwood, but gee, I love watching the footy. That's just, how good is it? Like that game the other night at Port Adelaide, I've gone, wasn't much fun being there because it's always they're all so close. It's just no fun at all.
You've single-handedly
Oh, here we go.
changed the stigma of the footy club. I mean, it used to be you love Collingwood or you hate
That's
Collingwood.
what I meant.
Now they're everyone's second teammate. You have done this.
Oh, yeah, I reckon. Don't that little grin you get had nothing to do with it. So
Well, let me-
I'm
let's get on to something
I'm
that-
hanging on the coattails of G. Wright and
Okay.
and Fly and the rest of the team. So I'll just hang on to Righty loves that. If I said that,
Let me talk about something you have had your hands all over, and that is putting a bullet through the netball program. Do you understand? Do you understand that you have broken the hearts of Nate's beautiful, beautiful little girls?
No, is that true?
They were Collingwood supporters for the netball. They went to a game and they said, "Why would they do that, Dad?" I said, "Well, we've got Ned coming this week, so we'll ask him."
Well, the last time I was here, we hadn't done it yet, had we?
No.
you hadn't.
Just simple mathematics, simple numbers.
You said you had a few
numbers.
things to work
I'm not
on.
that smart with the numbers. The numbers I got presented, that's not working. And the other problem is our facilities is quite small. It's actually not that big. So
So do you
we
need to
just-
expand the new
we
facility?
just have to. Well, we had a netball court right in the middle where we should try and have artificial grass where we can do a proper session if it's raining
Yep.
outside. We don't have that. Every other club has that. And then we've got the difference is too when they started netball for all the right reasons because we didn't have female football, didn't have AFL women's, we didn't have any females participating in our sport, and then literally the sliding door moment was a year later that started, and so then we're too far into netball, so it had to go its course, and we just had to make a decision. So Jeff and I sat down, and it just didn't make sense. And the girls and the netballers were just absolutely amazing people and such great athletes. So it is.
They handle themselves well.
And Ash
sort of.
Brazel's
Yeah.
still obviously involved with us
Yep.
in the footy program, and they weren't happy. There was tears. It was a very ordinary time and a hard decision, and not nice at all. And I've got some of the emails I've got, Nath, are pretty full on.
They play for keeps, some of the netball
Oh,
crowd.
wow.
Ned, from
Oh, really?
my experience, this is a happy topic,
Thank
signing
you,
Nick
Dave.
Dacos for an extended period of time.
Have we done that?
Well,
Damo
Damo
reported,
broke the
Did you
news.
report something? Did you go with something again that wasn't quite locked in?
Well, you tell me what's happening then, Ned.
I don't know. Roddy does all that work.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll
he-
tell you that. 2029, you're going to lock him away too. Look, it must have been you obviously need to dot I's, cross T's, put a number to it, but that would have been one of the easier ones to wait
And
for.
the length of the contract, Ned, the longer contracts backing. I want to ask you about that because you've been most of your life on the other side. Are you in favour of signing sort of 7-8 year deals?
So first answering Damo's, are we chatting with Robbie and Paul Connors? Yes, Roddy's doing that. The boys are absolutely amazing to deal with, and you'd be amazed if our club and what we're doing, it wasn't heading in the right direction. So those conversations can continue to happen. Das, the question about long-term contracts, and a few people asked me this. If I'm managing and I can get a long-term contract in place like Tommy Patora and some of the guys in the previous life, you're absolutely going to do it. If I'm running the club, and I think Jace will jump in here hopefully, in that I think there's certain players at the right age and the role they play in the team, even if a Nick or Josh Dacos, and touch wood, they don't, but something happens, they get injured, they're still going to play a role, and long term they'll be playing in the role that you can clearly see them playing now. If you get a big tall guy, and obviously Sammy, your boy Das, there's a lot more that can go, I reckon, a little bit wrong and especially if you do some of those contracts after 25, I reckon, and we've seen that happen with a few guys, and I, personally as a club, I'd be staying away from that. And unfortunately, the Brodie Grundy's deal was the right deal for him, but it actually forced us to play a hand that wasn't that pleasant for both parties because we just couldn't afford it all. And that was a super long-term deal. So I reckon you've got to treat each one, but as a whole, there's a different conversation as a club.
So you'll announce that in the coming week?
Damo, I have not said a thing, so don't try and get something out of
Well,
me.
it's done. It's done. It's done. All right. I'll
Instagram.
tell your supporters on your behalf. It's done then.
Is
It's just
that
a matter
right?
of when.
So I don't know how you know that. You do not work in our business, so don't say things you do not
Are
know.
you saying it's not done? then?
We are
Are you
working,
saying
we
it's not going to
continue-
happen? Are you going to say it's not?
No, they're two different conversations.
Now, Ned,
You are.
Ned,
Ah, yeah, so-
is it fair to say that
Dean, did you tell me they weren't going to ask all these questions?
is one of the clauses in the contract that the old man gets a box at every game? Because I just keep seeing him going off in boxes, Ned, at every game.
Don't you love it? I love it. Caught up with him during the week, and He's excited.
Yeah, isn't he?
I love him. He's such a and the person everyone doesn't talk enough about is Colleen. She is an absolute jet.
Yep.
And there's a lot of Colleen in the boys, trust me, not just Pete. So no, they're just beautiful boys, and Pete's all in. So it's a lot of fun. It's bizarre having Roddy, Dakes back, and Gav Krasiskas working with past players. Tuddy, it's a really nice. Sometimes I think you can get a bit inbred with old blokes around, but it is fun having the guys around, especially Dakes. He is very funny.
You've nailed the coach.
Coaches.
You've also your head coach. He's an unbelievable.
He's an
head
amazing
coach.
bloke
He's going so well.
and a great man.
Ticking every box at the moment. But your leadership with Darcy Moore. Every time I see Darcy Moore speak, I'm just so impressed. I go back to Anzac Day, the way he spoke after the game. I mean, he just gets everything right at the moment.
But it really, should it surprise any of us after you think of the quality of the dad and how much footy he's seen and been around for? He gets it, and he's got a great coach and great people around him, bounce stuff around, talk about how we approach things, and then he's his own person. The one thing Fly does across the whole group, just be yourself, have fun. Buzzy Bruz on last week against Port, he said, just if you want to say something, say it, have a bit of fun. Well, I reckon that's just refreshing. It's just fun.
He gets that right, doesn't he, Ned? In every situation for me, other coaches, play it down, but he's got an authentic way about him, Craig. It's infectious. I mean, you've known him for a long while. Are you surprised how good he is at what he's doing?
I didn't know him as much as long as Roddy and Tommy Petoro did, but I think I think if you want to be a senior coach, I don't know what Jace thinks here, but I reckon sometimes they get impatient to be a senior coach, and I think if you go through all his history and what he did to get to where he is, it's just layer upon layer of learning different things with different people. And it's okay doing that right at the end of your working career, and you're probably better for it. So it doesn't surprise me, because all of his great teachers and all the experiences he's had all the way along is quite amazing.
We're speaking to
Couldn't
Craig
agree more.
Kelly, the Collingwood CEO, on the Friday Huddle. Craig, have you adjusted your managerial style to fit in at the football club, or are you the same that you were at TLA, where you were just a direct operator?
Nadine?
Well, you could ask
For those that can't
You've
see
got a
Nadine.
minder.
No, I've got a
You've got
minder.
a full-time minder.
Don't say that. Stop saying that.
So have you adjusted your managerial style?
I would like to think I've adjusted slightly.
In what way?
Sometimes I might go back and get a bit grumpy and loud.
Grumpy.
And I yell a lot. And sometimes I've got to stop swearing as much, which I'm working on. It's a work in progress.
How's that going?
And Galit, in charge of people and culture, she's lovely. She comes in, she goes, Ned.
You're her full-time job. You are her full-time job.
So people won't understand. You're a HR disaster waiting to happen.
Correct.
And you have been for 30 years. But you've got this unique ability to say stuff that the rest of us would get cancelled
And get away with it.
I'm not allowed. I am a lot more balanced now, Darth, and I'm enjoying life in a community-based club, and we are having a good fun.
The last time we had you in here that I recall anyway, Ned, you mentioned something about scratching the surface only to that stage of where you wanted to take the whole business. Are you getting closer to letting us in on where you want to take it and what we may see as a football club?
Oh, it's not me. It's us getting away and getting time to pick apart what we've been doing previously and think about different ways and different technology and reinventing ourselves. And we haven't had the time to do that, Damo. And we're not quite clear. We haven't been able to get both parts of the business together because you're so in motion, and we're going okay on the field. So we're trying to catch up. And it won't be until after the season where we get that time as a leadership group, executive, with our board to get complete alignment. So I'd like to think we've got still another little bit of kicker in us towards next year of us being really clear and I should be able to come in here and go bang to you guys. And at the moment, we've got our core values. We know what we're about. We're playing good footy, and we've just got to keep making sure we support the team. But ultimately, there's some really good things and really good people. There's some really good upside. It's really exciting. And I'll wait. I know what I'd like to say now because there's one thing I'd love to say, but I'm not going to say it until we've actually done a bit more work on it.
Is it revolutionary?
I think it'll be. I think it'll be amazing.
Well, how are you feeling
You're
about
looking good.
Well, thank you. What do you think?
I wouldn't get wet in the shower.
Right.
I love the fact that you said to him, "How are you looking really good? You've
And he
been
goes,
pumping
"I've been
weights."
lifting.
And he said, "Yeah, I have." And you were taking the piss out of him.
Some heavy stuff
What do you
today.
He's been lifting noodles.
Oh, it's some heavy stuff
Couple of
today.
chicken
Thank
noodles
you.
and
I think
nasi
that's looking-
goreng. Oh,
have
hang
a
on,
look at
there's a
that.
little bit in
Have a
there.
look at that. Now, more importantly, the Blues. Are you excited? Are you excited about the last 5 weeks, and are you a chance to win this game of football tonight?
Yeah, well, Carlton supporters always know you don't get too excited because you get let down. So, now the last 5 weeks have been good, winning by 50 points. Because the first half of the year, something was going wrong. Even when we were 4-1 on top, they weren't playing that good a footy. And then it showed for the next 10 weeks, and they were putrid. And everyone was calling for Vossi's head, but he's really turned it around. So last 5 weeks have been moving the ball quicker, playing attacking footy like they played last year. This is the biggest test in footy is against the Pies at the MCG Friday night, 100,000. They'd want to show up.
Fev, you always gave great value in everything you do and great entertainment value. Do you see enough of that when you watch your old team play? Are there enough players that have got the flair that you had when you played?
We're on Triple M, so obviously not. If I was in another box, I'd be a bit more diplomatic. But no, there's no one out there like that, is there? It's quite boring. But actually, as much as I hate to say, I love watching Collingwood play. De Goey's got that. You've got a few other players that have got that, but they play quick, exciting footy. And as a footy lover, I love watching good teams play. I just hope they don't bring it tonight. But there's not many players. Toby Green's probably the last one. He can kick for, belt a bloke and spray an umpire, and we say he's best on ground, which is great.
Who's your favourite Carlton player?
My Curnow. There's a lot about him. A lot of him about me, I would have thought. Very, very skillful players. All of it.
All of it.
Yeah, he just hasn't got
The looks?
Quite, he's probably got me on looks. I probably did more damage, but he's got me on the looks. Rig's a bit similar. I didn't have a bad rig. And he kicks goals from everywhere. So, yeah. And he's got a bit more of an engine, but that's about it.
Can you believe when you're on 99 goals that
here we
Alistair
go.
Clarkson put all the players behind the football and didn't allow you to kick that 100th?
Yeah, it was fit flanning, wasn't it? No, that was...
They
if I was
77
good
points
enough,
up at the time.
they were
though,
up by
Fev.
heaps, man.
Numbers behind the footy.
Tonight, Bud
that
kicked
were-
100,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
That's
the
right.
big fella had a massive first half.
I didn't kick a goal in
And
the
then
first half.
second half.
Flicked some switches.
Would you kick 7 or something?
7, yeah.
7.
And then Clarko's parked the bus to deny you the 100th goal.
Yeah, I remember before the game, Buddy had to kick 2, so he was playing on Paul Bauer, so that was going to happen real quick. and it did. Kicked it early. And we met before the week with during the week with the AFL about the 100 goals, and Jason would know that because he's part of that club. When all the supporters run on, so that happened for Buddy, and that was an amazing moment. Probably one of my greatest moments on the footy field to be involved in that. It was real special because I was like, this is going to happen to me. And it didn't. Kick 7 in there. I remember Luke Hodge come up to me at 3/4 time and said, Clarko said, don't let this beep kick his 100, flood back if he gets close. Hodgie said it to me at the forward 50, and he said, I'm not going to come back. And then they all come back because I kicked a couple. I kicked 4 in the third, and I thought, geez, I'm a chance here. And then got a couple of cheapies early in the last, and it's coming, and it didn't come.
So did Hodgie, did he work back? Was he one of the numbers?
No, he
back?
didn't. He didn't. No,
He stuck true to his
mate,
word.
Ruffy had kicked about 58 goals. He come back and he was playing scene in front of me. I'm like, mate, you can kick 10. Get up the other end. But nah, they didn't. They didn't let me. That's okay.
Fev, you always embraced everything you did in your career, and you've come out so well for it. It started effectively at this venue on New Year's Eve 2000,
Yeah.
didn't it? With
Yeah.
the dozen goals.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
night.
Big night. No one wanted to play. Obviously, New Year's Eve, you want to be on the piss. 6:30 kickoff, no good. And I kicked 12, so it was good for me. Had a big night, and then tried to do the same thing that I did in my prep for the next 2 years. That didn't quite work. But it was a big day. It was obviously the last game, Millennium, Carlton Collingwood. I hadn't really played many games the year before, maybe 2. And my first 2 games, I didn't get a kick. I had 2 handballs. So it was nice to come out here and once you kick a few goals, you believe that maybe you can play at this level. Because my first year we made the grand final, 99. Carlton played North Melbourne, famously beating Essendon here by a point in the prelim. And I'd only played 2 games. So we had a great side then, and not getting a kick when you're coming from juniors, when you're dominating, and then coming out here with the big boys, I thought, oh, geez, I might not be not good enough here. But I proved that wrong about 6 months later.
When you do look back on everything you did, good and bad, Fev, do you look now in 2023 and think it's become a really sterile environment and to the detriment of some individuals within the workplaces?
Good question, Damo. I think footy. I love watching footy. I think footy's in a good place with the performances on the ground. Obviously not West Coast, but the top 14 teams, they're pretty competitive. So it's good footy to watch. I think it's exciting. The forwards are kicking goals again. The midfielders are dominating. I think the efficiency of the ball movement and the kicking is really good. So I'm enjoying it. A couple of years ago, I sort of wasn't really interested, but having the characters and the boys can't do too much. So you see them go away overseas throughout the year and stuff now, and you blokes hammer them in your articles in the paper.
No.
But I think footy players are just footy players at the end of the day. They're in it for a short time, and whatever they earn it out there and they perform. And if they want to go out and have fun, let them have fun. That's old school, but it is a business now, and if players do get in trouble, and I know that working at the work I work in now, you can't be out doing anything because you lose sponsorship and you lose your job. So you got to be careful. I never thought I'd say that, but you got to be smart. Take your brownie.
Tell us, yeah, you do. Tell us about
He's that
how
shiny.
the.
Oh, yeah. And flat.
Jesus, like a bowling ball.
There's no lines on it.
No crease.
Tell us about how the radio gig came about, because you've just gone from strength to strength. I think for 5 years in a row, I had you in the top 5 former AFL players.
Yeah, I wasn't in that.
in the
I wasn't in that this year. A bit flat about that.
No, I think you were.
So,
No.
Brandon, for
Oh,
people
no.
listening that maybe don't understand, you do the
Give
top
it some
money
context, mate.
earners.
Top money earners, post-football career, so media.
It's the
You
AFL
left Fev
Forbes
out 'cause
list.
he wasn't working directly in footy.
Yeah, he
We
left me out.
changed,
I
we
listened
changed the
in.
criteria this year.
Yeah.
He's
So what have you
actually
got him
working
on, Nate? 'Cause this is
directly
your
in football.
specialty.
1.2
1.2.
1.2.
plus bonuses.
And
that
you do
half
it-
a year?
You do it with,
What's that for?
you do it with Fifi. Great combination,
Yes.
you and Fifi.
Chief school. Jeez, he was flat with that one.
Don't start.
Jeez, he was flat with that. He was flat with that.
How
That was just a little joke
you
that
led him into that.
no, because I'll give Chief some credit here. She was going through the most eligible bachelors on our radio
Yes,
show,
yes.
and there were some handsome men in there,
Yes.
some real handsome men,
Yes.
and she picked the Chief as the best.
Right, I'm not surprised.
So I just ran with it. I went, oh.
And you realise where it ended up? In magazines,
yeah,
online
everywhere.
articles. It
Well,
was ridiculous.
she's taken now, so you're off the.
Are you aware that
Gee.
Chief's found that he's got 3 kids as well, Feb? We found out on the back of that story that...
Online, I've got
Yeah.
3 kids.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
You didn't know
Do,
about it.
you do some work, Chief.
Haven't met them yet.
No, but I thought that was a compliment to you because
No, it is, I
he's
appreciate
beautiful, and
it. I
she's like, he
appreciate
was the number one.
Definitely.
And there was blokes like Tommy Little. There was all these beautiful looking men, and their Chief was
He is
number
popular.
one.
But you're killing it, Breakfast Radio.
Yeah, it's
dominating.
going well. Yeah, it's going really well. So at the end of this
Wait,
contract,
you've been doing that for how long?
8 years.
Right?
So I'll
Sort
be
of
in
after.
radio longer than footy by
Right.
the end of this contract,
Wow.
which will be good.
Can
So-
you believe that?
No.
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 Considering that what we used
Have
to
you heard
roll
me
out
talk?
Well, considering what we used to do on Dead Set Legends, Fev.
We did it together. I enjoyed that.
And
That
you've
was
kicked
some
on.
fun. And so I've kicked on.
It's-
Mate, you're getting suitcases over in India
Well,
full of
that's
cash.
true.
US dollars.
Yeah, US cash.
You know,
It's
he
a great
got-
success story,
Yes,
Feb,
he
and he's also launched...
deserves it.
You launched your own beer,
I've
Feb?
launched my own beer, yep.
What's
Tell us
it all
about that,
about?
please.
It's called Everyday Australia. So I've teamed up with a mate of mine called Andrew Eden down in Torquay. He's a Torquay boy.
Beautiful.
So he used to design all the rip curl tops that you got on. So he created all the symbols that are on all the rip curl clothes around the world. So it's been about 4 or 5 years in the making. So we get it brewed out at Holgates down at Woodend. And
How do we get our hands on it?
I can send you some, mate. Don't worry.
Direct
Perfect.
competition
Yeah.
with Howie.
Yes.
Howie's got his
Yeah.
own beer label.
very little.
It's bloody
small
hard.
operation.
Jesus, hard. CUB, they just own everything. It's like Das. Owns all the pub. You got pubs? Let me get your pub. I was down in Mornington today, actually, down at the Mornington Hotel, getting my beer on tap down there, which was good. So it feels good when you walk into a pub instead of buying someone else's piss, you're buying your own.
Yeah.
How good is it?
Hey, but let me ask you a question. We are all, I think, blessed. We're very fortunate. Football's been a big part of our
Yes.
lives, and it's led us down some wonderful paths. Given your celebrity status has only grown and increased and enhanced since you've finished football, you've made a great life out of it. If you go back and you never played footy, where would Fev be and what would he be doing?
Probably dead. I'm not even joking. I was from Narry Warren, so I wasn't real good at school, as you could obviously tell. I put all my eggs in one basket, Chief. They were all in there. It was like the Easter Bunny come around, and they were all in there. So I didn't worry too much about school because I was playing footy and I was pretty good at it as a kid, as we all were. I was kicking 100 every year, and I loved you, Lockett, Ablett, and I wanted to be like that.
So you're kicking 100 as a junior regularly,
Yeah,
Feb?
yeah. I didn't kick 100 in under 15s. I kicked 86, but I only played 4 games. I did.
And you kicked 86.
Yeah, I was on. That was
Are you serious?
yeah. Yeah.
21 and a half goals
There
a
was,
game.
I kicked 27, 22, 20 and something like that, and then I broke my ankle. Got up at the league best and fairest after 4 games. Thanks, boys. But all the eggs are in one basket. But I don't know what I would have done. I'm pretty fortunate I got footy and then went in the jungle, had nothing, and then did pretty well in that and got a radio gig, which was great.
Game's been good to a lot of people, hasn't it?
Now, Nath, as you know, listening to the show, does a top 5. So
He does.
It
I
involves
look
you,
forward to this.
so
Oh,
he's got to
God.
run it out with you. Leroy?
He's a self-proclaimed footy superstar.
I reckon I was probably the most influential player in the AFL.
He fears nothing and no one.
This is all off-air stuff that you're not allowed to talk about on air, but I've gone with it anyway.
And he sees the world a little differently.
Just watching a Komodo dragon eat a monkey.
This is Nathan Brown's Top 5.
So when the Big Nose producer said you were coming in, I
Yeah.
thought I was at a loss for a
Is
top
that why you
5.
wore your best shoes in?
Yeah,
What are
that's
those
exactly
things?
right. That's how my wife bought me these, and I thought, well, if Fev's coming in, why not? They were top 5. And when I started researching today, there is so much stuff that can't go on here. So there is a lot of stuff that can, but I've got an honourable mention before we get into the top 5, and this revolves around a Wizard Cup game where you were the best man on the ground, and Michael Tuck
Oh, it's brilliant.
gave out his medal to somebody else.
Michael Tuck to present the medal named in his honour to the player adjudged best on ground in the 2005 Wizard Home Loans Grand Final. Tucky?
Good evening. The winner of the Norm Smith medal is Brendan Fevola, or Fev.
Norm Smith.
There's a funny story because I played a lot of my junior footy with Shane Tuck, and Michael Tuck was our runner and Jeff Ablett was our coach. So we had some great pedigree there. And Tucky just used to run around all the time. And I went to school with his daughter Renee out at St. Francis Xavier, and so I'd known Tucky really well. And he come up to me before it. And he was blind. he'd had that many beers, and he got up there and he got his own name medal wrong. And then he wrote me a big letter apologising. And I said, mate, I got your medal. I don't care. Don't worry about that. And I've won a Norm Smith, so it's brilliant.
All right, let's get into the top 5. So the first one happened here at the MCG. You were playing Collingwood many, many years ago, and for some reason you had Alan Didak in your sights, and this is what happened.
Emergency umpires in there.
just went through. Fev just went through. 3 Collingwood players have decked Fevola. The umpires are there. There's 5 of them. There's 20 players. Fevola has been decked by about 4 Collingwood players.
50,000.
In the middle of the ground.
70,000. 80,000.
Fev's got an opening on the bonce.
He hasn't, but Burns and Fevola coming together again.
Here they go. Fevola is now in the Collingwood huddle. Being taken away by the players. Lance Whittle pushes him away. He runs around the Emirates sign.
Oh, blood pouring out of Fev. Pouring out of his bonds.
An electric end to this first quarter.
So what happened there? Because there was nothing going on, and all of a sudden at quarter time, you decided to knock over Alan.
Well, Dids had, 2 years in a row, I think he got East Scotland the year before, flat right in the middle there of the MCG and knocked him straight out. And then he got Murph in that game. I reckon he ran through him just here on the wing.
Payback.
And I thought, and I saw an opportunity, and my eyes lit up, and I went whack. And Josh Fraser got knocked out. Anyway, it was a big brawl. We all got fined, but I remember there was a photo in the back of the Age or the Herald Sun of me and the Emirates sign and Mick Moldhouse just glaring at me like he was staring at me like he was going to kill me. So I signed it to Mick, thanks for the fight, and sent it to the Collingwood Footy Club. It didn't get anything back.
Okay, number 4. Now, a former captain of yours, and we had him on here for many, many years, and I've always thought this was probably your fault, but after
100% it's
we
his fault.
figured out how much of a sicko he is,
Yeah.
Chris Judd,
Yeah.
I'm all turned around on it, but here's the famous pressure point.
Stevens to goal. Your favourite movie, Stevens to goal?
Isn't the Vox Pops meant to be about a straight bloke taking a piss out of his piss bloke?
So we're blaming Juddy for that.
Yeah, she was a big night. I can't really remember much, but yeah, that's
Changed
Juddy's
the policy at the Brownlow.
Yeah, no, it's good, isn't it? I've never been invited back.
Wasn't the first time you got sacked either. So then you went to Brisbane. You were playing some great football
Yeah, it
up
was,
there
yeah.
at the start,
exciting,
but
him and
then
Brownie.
I found this.
The Brisbane Lions have defended their decision to sack Brendan Fevola while refusing to detail the exact reasons why his contract was terminated. Fevola remains in a Brisbane psychiatric facility with his AFL career over.
Brendan Fevola has delivered a nightmare 2 years in Brisbane, not the dream 100 goal a year forward.
Lost trust of the playing group, mate. It's hard to come back from that. And when the playing group's united on it, you have to move forward. And it's bloody unfortunate.
You were flying at the start.
Yeah, we were. Well, humming.
Absolutely flying.
Because I was in a mental clinic when that went through, so I got sacked in there.
That's what the story went on to say.
I got sacked in there.
And they didn't even give you a chance.
Yeah.
You were in there.
Yeah,
and,
I don't even know what I got sacked for, but everything works out well. I was actually on the drink with Brownie during the week up in Sydney. Winding back the clock, we were. It was unfortunate, though, wasn't it?
Those early rounds, just on the footy side of it.
Yeah, we'll hum it.
You really clicked with him there
yeah,
for 4 or 5 weeks.
We were actually talking about it the other night up in Sydney. I was leading the Coleman, he was coming second. We're on top, we're undefeated, won 4 or 5 in a row. And then it went all pear-shaped.
But it was bums on seats.
It was bums on seats, it was packed. And I think the moment when I realised it wasn't well was I did a thing for the Brisbane Bandits, which was a baseball team that was going on in Queensland. And the pitcher hit me a ball and I hit it at the Brisbane footy ground and it went straight through a bloke's car.
That's right.
And stabbed all glass on his arm. I thought, it's not a real good
Big
place
Nose
to be.
producer's telling me to push through the last two. So then you went into the jungle and the great SK Warm was in there. And you won the jungle, obviously, but you had a really good ding-dong go with him in there at one point.
No, you're wrong, Fev.
No, I'm not.
Because
he
Ads
cooked
and Joe
them, and then
Bev
I've seen him hanging over there cooking
Fev.
the chips, mate.
Fev,
so don't say I didn't. You zip it. Don't tell me to zip it. Did he or not?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did. Thank you very much. Don't tell me to zip it. I don't make the rules, Shane. That was just over rules, and I was right and he was wrong.
Yep.
And this is what we loved, and this is what every Carlton, if you did barrack for Carlton, you love watching you play. You just bums on seats. You were unbelievable to watch, and you'd love to see you at 95,000. But this day against Collingwood, you were down at halftime. You'd only kicked 3 goals as a team at halftime. You ended up with 22 disposals. You kicked 8 goals, 6, and you won the game for them.
Fevola! Is it a free? Fevola's kicked the most remarkable goal! Fev, you little beauty!
Can he work it back? Down goes Fev. Fev reeks it back in somehow and kicks another one.
It's looking good. It's going and going. He's equalled his career best. It's been all about Fev.
Bruce and Dennis.
8 goals, 6.
It was a big day.
Big day.
You always try to play well against the big sides. Because the boys Heathy Scotland used to always say, I think we played like Kangaroos in the Gold Coast and there was like 10,000 there. So it was like, just kicking one. But then when it was like 80,000, you try to kick 8. So every 10,000, you try to get one more goal because there's more people there. You've got to bring out your best you've got to bring the goodness.
I think you're playing on Jimmy Clement.
Mate.
Yeah, I was.
Great to see you.
Great to see you too,
Thanks
mate.
for coming in. You're a star. We love what you're
Thanks,
doing in the
boys.
wilds
Have a
and
good
everything,
call.
mate. Good luck with everything moving forward, the family, and good luck to the Blues tonight. The star,
Thanks,
the
Fab.
man that brings sizzle, Brendan Fevola. McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks Footy.